guys, welcome back to my channel. I know I've got like this barefaced intro going on, which is really unusual for me, but that's how we're going to start it, because today I'm really just doing eyeshadow for you guys, which is odd because normally it's just foundation. But basically I picked something up that I think you guys might be interested in. So it's the Jaclyn Morphe collection. So this is the packaging. It is really nice. So I believe it's 4 palettes of either 8 or 10 shadows, and they retail for either £15 each or £50 for the entire collection, which is really reasonable considering like Morphe is known for being reasonable. But then I've heard good things about this, although I also heard that they had to kind of delay release. They released it and then the quality wasn't quite right, so they stopped the release and resorted everything, which I think is really good. But I'm so excited. So let's have a peek-sies. So this is what it comes in. It's like a boxing with the vault across the top, which is the name of the collection. It's got this Morphe x Jaclyn Hill on it. It's totally like fully realised, this packaging, and I'm here for it. Like, I love it. And you can kind of see on the side it's got this little ooh moment, and here are the palettes. So what I like about this is it's got like different colours down the side here that you may be able to see. So this one is Dark Magic, and it's like a greeny bluey toned one by the looks of it. It's got like greeny bluey colours across here. You can kind of see that the colours are all different. So this looks like a yellowy green here, and Gorgeous. This looks more purple, Bling Boss, and this looks red. Let's be honest, this is going to be the palette that I use on a daily. But I'm excited for all of them, to be honest. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to show you like all of them in one video. That would be an extra long video, and I feel like I can't then show you looks with every one of them. I'm not just going to swatch this like I normally do. I'm going to play with them. So I'm going to just pop into maybe the first palette on the top today, and then we'll have a look at some others at a later date. So this one is going to be a tutorial based around Dark Magic. That was the one at the top. It was going to be whatever one was at the top, to be honest. And what I like about this is you can see like the colour is like translated even on here. So the glitter and stuff that we've seen here, it translates over onto here, and there's like green, dark greeny glitter on there, which I like. Not like actual glitter where you're going to get absolutely covered in it and not get it off for days, but it's like a confetti bit, which I'm really into. So let's open this bad boy up. It's got a mirror at the top, which I like, but as well, like, look at these shadows. I'm actually so excited. Like, this is like Cool Toned Dream. Like, think about the Juvia's Place palette I've got, and I bitched that there were no mattes. Now I have all the mattes I could need. So to me, the first colour, Poof, is going to be one that you're going to set your lid with. I don't know that it's going to show up like massively well on my skin tone, but we're going to give it a go. So yeah, Poof you're not really going to see super well on my skin tone. It's going to be an all over lid colour, but like I can see it in real life a bit more than on camera, but it is showing up at least a bit, which shows it is pigmented to say it shows up on my skin. I'm fairly excited for Power Cut, to be honest, because I feel like gold tones are all the rage now. And if this silver tone turns out really well, I'm going to be really happy about that. See, Power Cut is nice. I don't know how much I'm like loving it. It's not too cool and too warm though, which I like. Although I don't know whether I prefer it cooler. I don't know, maybe a little bit lighter, because it does have a bit of a deeper grey undertone. But it is really pretty, like as a glitter, it shows up really well. So shh, it's a super like cool toned brown. I say it like as I would say it in life, which is a little bit weird. But I think a cool tone brown is what you need in this. I feel like this cool tone brown of like shh is what you kind of need in this palette as like a transition. Otherwise a lot of the colours can be too dark if you don't want to create something like super dark. So shh is that like cool toned brown that you need for a transition. I feel like in this palette, otherwise you'd be missing something a bit light that you need really, because otherwise you're just going to have, if you buy the palette on its own, you're just going to have like quite a harsh dark line. You're not going to have anything paler to kind of blend the edges with. And I feel like if I had to like critique maybe another paler one. But Potion coming up is fairly pale. See, I made an absolute mess of that pan. But in the next one is Trickery. So Trickery isn't really showing up super green. I expected it, having looked at the pan, to be like ultra like green and like draw you in, but like I'm almost a bit disappointed that it's not so green. Like, it's a gorgeous like colour and it shimmers and it has like a green hue, but I think in my head I wanted it brighter. I don't know that that was necessarily the aim. I think it's probably supposed to be as deep as it turned out, but that's just my personal preference. I would have preferred it maybe a little bit brighter. So the next one here that we managed to like dip our nail in is Diversion. Now this is a bit more of like a beigey one, and this is almost a little bit more like boring, but if it shows up a bit more than Power Cut did, like I wasn't super keen on Power Cut to be honest, then I'm going to be pretty pleased. To me, Diversion swatched the best. Like, it felt the smoothest and it showed in the swatch. Like, look at that colour. Like, oh my god. Like, to me, Trickery swatched as good as mattes tend to swatch. Mattes don't tend to swatch as well, like overall in my opinion. But look at Diversion. I keep looking at it like... So next we are going to swatch Potion. This is like a pukey green. Pukey isn't nice, but it's what it is. And I love it. It's actually not like many other colours I've seen. Potion is just a beautiful like pale green. And I feel like this is like what the palette like needs to be, that really pretty green palette. Like, I love it. Like, she didn't go like for like a bright like minty like green, because I feel like that would have been like totally like expected in a colour that I've seen quite a few times. So I'm just really happy with the shade Potion, to be honest. So coming up next is Busted here, and I feel like a tealy kind of blue is quite a difficult shade to get right. That's what I've heard from people constantly when they release their own palettes, like it's a really difficult shade to get right. So I'm going to be properly impressed if this swatches smoothly. Busted turned out to be everything I wanted it to be in terms of the shade. It comes across to me deeper in the pan than it does on the arm, but that's not like a bad thing to me. Like, it's so pretty, and I feel like you could create any like really nice aqua bluey look. Like, there's some glitters that I have in my Juvia's Place palette actually that I really want to pair that colour with. Like, I'm totally inspired like to use this, not just on its own, but in combination with other colours. And I feel like that's what it's about. Like, even if you just want to buy the one palette, you know, even if you just want to buy like Dark Magic, then you can use it with other palettes. And it's like super affordable. It's 15 quid. You use an influencer code, get 10% off. It's £13.50. You know, you can't complain for something like this. Something with like 10 shadows of like decent quality so far, you know. There's nothing wrong with these shadows. Like, I haven't picked up on anything that I'm like mad about, not really. Like, the colour combination is almost what I would have gone for. I'd have probably gone for a bit of a brighter green with Trickery, but otherwise I'm really happy so far. So next coming up is Inside Job, and I feel like this is like the perfect green to complement this colour. So this is Inside Job, and it's everything that I wanted. Like, this palette needed that deep green, as it's like the green tone palette. It needed it in like a variety of shades, and this is the colour that I feel like is the statement piece for this palette. I feel like you're going to create some really nice smoky looks with that without having to necessarily bring in the black if that's not what you're into. There is a black in this palette, which we'll get to. But if you want like a dark look and you don't really want to bring a black in there because that can be a bit much for some people, that is definitely for what it's for. So next we're going to pop into the deep brown here, Mojo. That's nice, it swatches well, like I expected after all of these other colours, to be honest. Like, Mojo I think is here for like, if you want to create that warm smoked look without having like the coolness of like the black toned. Like, it kind of brings a bit more warmth, and actually the brown helps emphasise the brown eyes rather than just black, so you could pack it like on your lash line and use it as like a smudged out liner. You could have it however you like, but it also allows you to bring shadow under here without going green necessarily if you want something dark under there, which I think is really nice. Now the final shade in this palette is Temptress here. Now I watched the unveiling video by Jaclyn Hill. I haven't watched any other videos because I didn't want my view of this to be so biased. I knew Jaclyn was going to be loving her palettes and all of that rubbish. I wanted to see whether I was going to buy one or all of them, to be honest. But she explained that she put a bit of sparkle, as you could see in the black. It allows them to add a bit more oil into their formula, which makes these a bit smoother and probably a little bit more blendable, which I think is a problem I come across with a lot of blacks, to be honest, that they can come across real patchy if you're not careful. So honestly, I don't see much of the glitter, to be honest, in it. You can see where I initially put my finger down to swatch, it's a bit better than as I dragged it across, but when you're blending that out, that's not going to be so much of a problem. But it is a proper deep black, and I don't know necessarily if I'll use it in this look. I'm not a massive black shadow addict like many people are, but we'll see how it goes. I haven't really fully decided what I'm going to do yet, but I think I really want to use maybe Potion and Diversion. I feel like that's what it's going to go to, and I'm so excited to film it for you guys, so excited. So you may see for this part of the video that my hair is a bit different, my clothes are a bit different. That's because after I swatched the shadows, I had some technical difficulties, and by technical difficulties I mean my camera battery died, and by the time it was charged again it was a little bit too late to be filming. So I'm just going to film the eyeshadow look today. It's the next day. We are going to see how these perform. I'm so excited to see how these perform on the eyes, because swatches, they give you a decent impression of pigmentation, but when you swatch them in comparison to how they blend on the eyes, it's a completely different thing. So I'm going to use my eyelid primer because I feel like that is the way to give these a fair test. Do you know what I'm saying? So I have the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre that I've been trying out at the moment. So that's my eyelids nice and primed. Now, what I liked about this palette was the shade Poof, because I'm going to be able to set my lids with that. And this is how you're going to see how pigmented it is. So I'm going to take the brush from my Urban Decay Naked 2 palette and just pop Poof on one side of it, the flat side, just to set the lid. So I've set my lids, it set them well, not much more to say about that. I feel like that's the only problem with these tones. If you're more of a deeper skin tone, then that's going to look really nice for you. It's going to be a nicer light shade that not all palettes necessarily have. However, for me, it just set the lids, you know. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Morphe R39 and dip into Potion. So normally I do use a big mirror to do my makeup, but I am, honestly, my eyesight is so bad. Sometimes in my videos you'll see me with my glasses. I won't be able to see the detail of blending these shadows, so I am going to be using the mirror from this palette, which is, what it's there for, which I really like, So I think I'm just going to blend it out into the crease. Take it into this inner corner, pop it into the crease. I'm not going to drag it too far into here, that's not what I'm there for. And just pop some more colour down, which I kind of like, because if you're a beginner with eyeshadow, it's going to be fairly difficult for you to know how much you're going to need, and you don't know how pigmented it is. So just blending it out like this, having to build the pigment up is going to be a bit better for you. So I don't know how much I'm loving that. It looks nice, the pigment is coming across really nicely on the lid, and I feel like I'm seeing it kind of green, but it feels like it's almost a bit darker in the crease, and I don't know how much I'm loving how it's appearing around here. Do you know what I'm saying? It has blended out really well. I've had no problems. I've had to dip into a couple of times to build up this amount of colour. I'm not mad about that. It looks really pretty in terms of how blendable it is. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of evening up my eyes off camera because I think it just made the video far too long, just showing you both eyes. It's not like I'm going to be doing anything different. But I feel like one eye, the eyeshadow always looks better than the other. And today, I feel like it's going to be this eye. I don't know why. I feel like maybe I put a bit more of potion on this eye and that might have been why it got a little bit darker. I don't know. But I'm liking it. I'm really liking it so far. Like, initially I was like, this is a little too dark, but now I'm liking it. Like, the more I'm like working with it, I'm really liking it. So next I'm going to take the same brush with Inside Job, which is that nice darker green colour. Just take a little bit on the end. And then I'm going to work it a little bit lower. I have brought potion up quite far, so I'm just going to deepen my crease up with it. So pop some on this outer corner here, very gently, and blend that in. Then drag it up into the crease a little bit. Just have to make sure that it's not so harsh a line. Blend it in lovely with the eyeshadow from before. I feel like I like potion more than Inside Job, and I don't know if it's like blending in as well as I want it to so far. So I definitely feel like so far I've had to pick up less of Inside Job. I don't know that it's blending quite as easily as potion did, but I am getting it to blend. I just feel like I'm having to work with it a touch more. Like, it is looking pretty. I'm enjoying it, but like potion was definitely like better to me. Just taking a little bit more of potion just to blend it in here, just because I think I took a bit too much of that dark green up to try and blend it in. So I'm really liking how this like look is coming together so far. Like, it's blending like really well. I feel like I've had to work on it for a little bit with Inside Job. However, I am so happy with it. Like, I don't really do green tone looks, and this is pushing me out of my comfort zone, which I love. Like, I would use this palette again and again, but I'm going to use the blue. I was going to go and be like, oh, I'm going to use Mojo, but no, Busted is calling to me. So I'm going to use a bit more of a precise brush for this because I don't want to be messing up the green. So I'm going to use the Morphe M433, which I just mentioned. So I'm going to dip in a couple of times. Always dab off because I do not want fallout on my cheek, and the reason I didn't put any foundation on beforehand was because of fallout, but I'm seeing like none so far. So again, a little bit on the outer corner, not bringing it too far up to like mask that blue, and then just lower in the crease, just slightly. Only put a little drop of colour on there. I don't need loads of colour everywhere. That blue, I'm loving it. But because I'm going to be putting a shimmer on top, it doesn't matter how precise it is down here. So I am pulling it a bit lower just to make sure it doesn't mask too much of what I wanted the colour to kind of pop through here. Like, I'm definitely feeling like this is blended so much better already than Inside Job. It's just so much easier. I dipped in once with this colour. Like, it just feels a bit more pigmented, do you know what I'm saying? I am so glad I went with Busted now. I'm absolutely loving that colour. Like, it just, I keep looking at myself in the mirror, it's a little bit vain, but I'm absolutely loving it. But what I've decided to do is I'm going to try and cut my crease. Now, what you may know about me is cutting my crease is rarely successful. And by rarely successful means like I can never get as sharp a line as I want. Never as sharp a line as you see on Instagram, anything like that. But I'll give it my best shot. That's about the best I can do. So I'm going to take my Collection Lasting Perfection concealer in 1 Fair. I'm going to use more of that up, say doing this rather than my lighter shade, which is the new shade Extra Fair. So I am just going to pop some on the lid here. Not too much. I'm going to take my flat studio eye brush just because I want to use my other flat eye brush to pack on the shadow and just try and cut my crease. So I'm just pulling it across the lid here. So I am just going to take a bit more concealer on the end of my brush just to define that crease a bit. So I think the colour, like in this palette that I was most excited for, was this silvery power cut here. So I think that's what I'm going to pop on here. Now I'm going to use it wet like instantly because to me that's how shimmer's going to be used. That's how I would use it on a daily basis. I don't think it's fair to test a shadow dry when you don't use it dry, you use it wet, you know? So I am just going to try and cut my crease a bit with this shadow as well. That is pretty. Now this was the one that I thought I'm going to have fallout with. I tend to have more fallout, I would say, with shimmers, even when I'm picking it up with a wet brush. Don't know about power cut, you know. So I have picked up quite a lot, and it's looking a bit better for that. Like, I feel like you have to pick up quite a bit of this shadow. So that is the best cut crease you are going to get from me. I feel like the focus was truly there, and it's looking alright. Like, I don't know that like power cut is my favourite shadow in the world, but it looks okay. Like, it's pigmented enough, it's covered the concealer, but it's not like in your face, bam, right there, like shine. Like, I'm not like loving it. Like, it performed fine, don't get me wrong, it performed fine, I'm just not like fully into it. So I am just going to take a little bit more of Busted and just blend the shadows together. So again, this is my Morphe R433. Now I never know how to pronounce those, like, do I say M433, M433, who knows, I'm just calling it M443. It means you can hear the numbers more, so if you're interested in picking up a brush like this, you can like hear it, do you know what I'm saying? So I'm just blending these shadows together, and because Busted is like a super blendable shadow, it's working really well and I'm really happy with it. Like, this eye look has come together so well, I am really pleased with it in the end. My least favourite shadow so far is Power Cut. My most favourite shadow, I don't know if it's Busted or Potion, you know. I feel like Busted was the most blendable, but I love the colour of Potion a little bit more. So if you're looking for quality in terms of the shadow, then Busted. I feel like a shade like that is going to be really hard to formulate. I hear like blues and teals and things like that are fairly hard to formulate, and this is so soft and so blendable. I absolutely love it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to even up both my eyes, you know, cut this crease, put that shadow on, and then I'll be right back. So as I expected, this eye went better. Like, the crease is not like a super like clean, like super like there cut crease, but it looks so much better to me. Like, these shadows have performed really well. I topped up the silver a little bit, it looks so good. But like, I was just away for a while because like my best friend from home called, so we just sat having a chat for ages, and I feel like I don't go home enough. Like, I know I went home recently-ish, but like I don't go home enough, you know? So I need to find a time to go back and see people. Like, I'm gonna have to pre-film again, but like, oh, I miss it. But anyway, back to the eyeshadow palette, which is like what you guys came here for. I'm liking it. I'm liking it so far. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to put like the rest of my like B on, and then I'll do my lower lash line, we'll pull the look together, and I'll go through exactly what I think of each shade. So I popped the rest of my makeup on now, and now we're going to decide what we're going to put on the lower lash line. So I'm definitely thinking like a pop of colour on the lower lash line. I think I'm going to go back into like a green shade. I feel like green on the lower lash line is totally what I'm feeling right now. So I'm thinking maybe like Inside Job on like the outer edge, and on the inner edge Potion. So I'm going to use the 17 eyeliner brush, and first I think I'm going to go in with Inside Job. So I don't want it to be like super like bring it down too far, you know. So I'm just pushing it against the lower lash line, pulling it in a little bit more up here. And I'm not going to go all the way around because I feel like that's just going to close my eye off. Because Inside Job is quite dark, it's like a little liner around the outside and pulls in nicely to the green in your crease. So I feel like pulling that in, it looks really nice. And now I'm going to take Potion and pop it a little more towards the inner corner. Not like in the inner corner, I am going to pop like a highlighter there, but like closer. Do you know what I'm saying? So you get the excess off the same brush and then just take it into the inner corner a bit more. I'm then going to take that Urban Decay brush that I used before, and because it's like got nothing on it now, I'm just going to blend the shadows here just a little bit more. I'm super happy with that. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to pop a highlight just on the inner corner. So I'm going to take the soft end of this number 7 smudger brush, dip into the white highlighter that I used. I did mix a couple of highlighters today, and then I'm just going to pop it on the inner corner. I then like to blend this down here into the shadows on the lower lash line, and then up a touch into the shadow here, just to tie it together. I mean, it's going to go a little bit from your inner corner, it always does. I find that I've got like slightly watery eyes, and I can't always keep an inner corner highlight like blinding for the entire day. But then you can just top it up and make it as bright as you like. I'm going to pop on some mascara now just to kind of finish the look, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about what I think. So I popped my mascara on, and I've been looking at my eyeshadow for a little bit, and I've had some thoughts. So what I like about this palette is the colours. They're not colours I would normally go for, and by buying the Vol, I have kind of had myself dip into colours that I didn't expect to love. Like, normally I'm not a blue-green kind of person, but I'm so happy with the look I've come up with. So overall I used these kind of 5 shades here. I didn't use any of these, and I know I could create an entirely new look with all of them. So colour-wise, my favourite was Busted. My least favourite was like Power Cut. I think Poof, I don't think I can include. I feel like you're setting your eyelid with it. There's no way to know. Do you know what I'm saying? I really liked Potion. I thought you had to work a bit more with Inside Job, but it still turned out well. I liked it. Do I think it's much better than Morphe's general formula? I've tried the 15N Nightmaster palette. Not really. I feel like it's the same. I think Cliché, their purple shade in the previous Nightmaster palette, was rubbish, and all of these are better, don't get me wrong. So I feel like Morphe has its ups and downs to begin with, so I feel like this is really good for Morphe especially. Is it better than most of my eyeshadow palettes out there? No, it's probably very similar, but I do enjoy it. Like, I do really like it. I think it's a good eyeshadow palette to go for. 15 quid for this bad boy, I would not like turn my nose up at. £13.50 with an influencer code, even better. Do I love this palette? I do really love it, and I think I'm going to get a good amount of use out of it. So if you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up, and if you like this look, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel before you leave, and if you press that notification bell, you'll be notified every time I upload. Thank you for watching.